what you're thinking, right? Big boy's really gone to pot. That's pretty obvious I like to eat. Right? Pretty obvious I like to eat. I tell you, I've been on dozens of diets in my life. And I've lost enough weight that I could actually make enough people to go in the Chinese restaurant and order Cantonese for 6. Matter of fact, the last couple of weeks I've been on a real good diet. I imagine a lot of people have too after New Year's, right? But you might like this one. You eat a pound of mushrooms, a dozen oysters, and you have sex at least 10 times a day. Well, I tell you, I don't mind the mushrooms, and I don't mind the oysters, but damn, my arm is so tired I can't hardly lift it. And I didn't even know I was ambidextrous. I've been unemployed here for the last, well actually I was going to say I've been unemployed, but before that I was working as a counselor. And I used to have some certain therapies or treatments that I really liked, that I personally perfected. And I used to have a lot of these guys come in, they were chemically dependent, they'd been through treatment, they were coming in and they're all sweaty and shaking, and they say, geez, I got to go back out, I can't meet anybody, and I got to go back out and use again. So for these guys, what I used to do is used to keep a list of all my sex addicts. And I'd give the phone numbers, names and phone numbers. Well, this worked out great, because these guys didn't go back out and use, and when these women woke up and found out what kind of losers they spent the night with, they made sure they got back to treatment. Another pretty good one I had was, I was working with a nymphomaniac, okay? I gave her a vibrator, and she didn't sleep with anybody for 6 months. But of course, the vibrator had ever-ready batteries, and it kept going and going and going and going. One that worked pretty good for me, that I was working with a lot of guys that had sexual dysfunction, premature ejaculation. Well, what I do with these guys is I give them a 1-900 number. But I made sure the woman on the other end stuttered. I had another one I perfected, where I'd have these guys come in, making a 6-figure salary, driving a big fancy foreign car, the big home, and they'd sit over there and they'd cry and moan and tell me how tough life was. Well, with these guys, what I'd do is I'd get up out of my chair, walk over to them and slap the hell out of them. Of course, that might explain why I don't have a job now. In today's world, it's really tough trying to figure out new ways of looking for employment. So I come up with a, I think, pretty good way. What I do is I look in the newspaper every morning, in the obituaries, for middle-aged guys. And then, hey, I go to their funerals, meet their bosses, pass out my resume, get an appointment. Hey, somebody's got to fill the position, right? Hey. Of course, also with that too, is like, I get up in the morning, I look at some of the last names, and I decide what I want for lunch that day. Do I want Italian? Do I want Mexican? Do I want German? And I go to those funerals. Hey, if you play your cards right, you can even go out and tell, if you play your cards right, you can go out and tell them, look, my wife was sick, she wanted to come, and they may even pack you up with another plate to take home and you can have it later. Another thing I come up with doing this too is I got a little business going. I'm making a few bucks, I'm out of work, I need to make a few bucks. So you see these people standing in the gas station selling flowers? Well, I've been supplying them with flowers. Hey, you get all the free ones you want at the funeral home. Especially, a lot of you have been out there looking lately. You hear a lot about this temp to perm positions, right? Well, I say, why hire an agency? I've got myself a white smock, an old stethoscope, and a little badge that says Dr. Smith. Well, I go to all the hospitals, and I go to the intensive care unit. I walk in, they think I'm a doctor. I go over to the charts, pull it out, see who had CPR last, find out where he works, call him up. I know there's a temporary job there. You know, it might even become permanent too. Well, another thing too is like, you know, they tell you, all the experts tell you to get your name and your resume in front of people that do the hiring. Well, what I've been doing is I find out what place that, you know, that I'm interested in. I go there, I find out where the executive washroom is. I go in and I plaster my resume up in all the stall doors. Well, I can get lots of calls. All hours of the night. Matter of fact, I got a call last week. It's for a blowjob. Hey, it wasn't half bad. We all got to eat. Well, if you're looking for a good time, or you know of a job, my name's Ed Smith. You'll find my resume in the washroom.
Louder, one more time for Ed. Ed Smith.